Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, everybody, welcome on in. Thanks for being with us on the program. Happy Tuesday afternoon to you. Alex Keary, Jeremiah Jensen, together we make up JJ and Alex. What's up, JJ? Looking good today,
Like
man.
peanut butter and jelly.
Look, I got the collar
You're
shirt
buttoned
on.
up too.
I'm trying to look like you.
I actually like that. You get the shirt, the stripy thing.
What
going
I
on
did
there.
was I kind of went in your color wheel
Throw a nice.
because I'm a pale-faced man like yourself, and so I thought, this probably isn't my color.
Oh no, that works. So what
Yeah,
you do now is you go get a flat tie, no stripes or anything on your tie.
It's like a solid
Solid tie.
tie.
Find a color that really pops. You're good to go.
All right. Then I'm gonna hit the top of my head with some powder, and then we won't blind anybody with the cameras.
Gotta do that. You gotta powder.
Have to.
You
Have
gotta
to.
powder.
I love it. Hey,
The lights are cruel.
Team USA, rolling. They were already coming in as 28 point favorites in this one over Brazil.
They're just playing with their food right now.
Yeah, Brazil. I don't know how this happens. I think just because there was not good basketball in their group, but they got through the group play at 1-2. So you had some bad basketball in that group.
Well, this is what the benefits of being the number one team in the world.
Yes, and so you get to play the
You get Brazil in the quarters.
Yeah, so it's 3:45 left in the fourth. Team USA up 32 currently against Brazil, 112-80, rolling. You pointed this out too. I don't know. I mean, we're past the Nene times. We're past the Howell Neto times. Brazil has no person that we could name from the in the NBA, right?
Not off the top of my head. No one
these
recognizable names. If there's somebody there probably is, but it's just not a big name, not somebody you'd recognize. Like, we watched games earlier today. By the way, great games. The game off Australia went to overtime with Serbia advancing.
Yeah.
That was great. And then France beat who did they beat?
Canada.
Canada.
Team
That's
Canada,
right.
man.
Team Canada. So France is
it's just
moving
a shame
on.
to see Dylan Brooks go out.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks pounding on the bench. We've seen that before. And then Rudy Gobert sitting down the stretch.
One of my favorite Canadian basketball players, Lou Dort, in the house, but not able to get it done.
Canada a little disappointing going out in the quarters.
Yeah, I
but,
thought for
tough
sure.
bracket there.
I was hoping that there was going to be some sort of an American matchup with Canada, because that's when you want,
That would have been fun.
They beat him They beat him down in Vegas, though, didn't they?
They did,
the
but it was
little
close.
warm-ups.
Remember, we were so
close.
worried about Team USA.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if they put the right team together.
Yeah, give me the gold, man.
Why didn't they put Jaylen Brown on the team and all that?
me
We
the
look
gold.
back on all that stuff and Steve Kerr not playing, Jason Tatum, and it's like it all sounds ridiculous because again, they're just going to roll.
I have this feeling every time I watch the Olympics too, where because we see ourselves as the main character, obviously that's how we do it. We watch all the American events. I mean, this is. We're in America. We're watching American.
Feels like, even though it's in France,
Olympics.
it feels like our event.
Right.
The Olympics are ours.
There's a part of me that goes, there's a skit. I'm going to turn you on to a show called that Mitchell and Webb Look. It's out of it's like a BBC Three kind of.
British comedy.
It's British comedy. It's funny and they're dressed
a lot of
up.
laughs and bad teeth.
It is. I'll tell you. And one of the skits is that these guys who they're SS, they're dressed as like SS, like Nazi officers.
Of course.
And he's like, hey, Bill, are we the baddies? He's like, are we the bad guys? and he's like, I don't know what you mean. He's like, our hats have skulls on them. Do you think that might be an indicator that we're the bad guys? And there's part of me sometimes that goes, hey, are we the bad guys in this, in the Olympics? And you can't say no, because you know that the American standard for a lot of these sports is the highest standard. And so you've got the target on the back situation. And yeah, you know what? We're the bad guys. We are Ivan Drago.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm telling you that we're We're the ones training in that. Wasn't he at like a space camp? It was like they were like testing his blood, and they're like, and he's hitting those little pounds per square inch.
They're pumping uranium into his blood cells.
Whatever they were doing. And he's like literally murdering his sparring partners while Rocky's out there chopping wood.
They're dragging out dead bodies that Drago killed in the ring.
We think that we're the ones. We think that we're Rocky and we're chopping down trees. We're Ivan Drago, man. Especially in basketball.
Feels that way.
All right. Anyway.
But who's going to be the Rocky? That's what I want.
Yeah, I don't want it to be Brazil. And frankly, I don't want to be anybody in basketball. But, I think like the gal who won the 100 meters against Sha'Carri Richardson, right?
Yeah.
That's from St. Lucia.
Yeah.
That's a Rocky situation.
That is a Rocky moment.
We sort of crowned Sha'Carri Richardson before everything started up. So, anyway. Got off to an Olympic start here. So, I was just wondering. Team USA up now 35. 117 to 82, and just under 2 minutes left. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Let's kick off our program. JJ and Alex is always brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. Let's kick off the show as we always do. We've got the cut. We've got a lot for you today. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com for your retirement needs, TrajanWealth.com. So here's what we've got planned today. We are going to jam as much camp sound as we can from BYU, Utah State, everybody, okay? And as soon as... And we're crossing our fingers on this one because it's been working a little bit, mostly, to get players on with us or coaches from any of these schools that finish up today. We'll bring you those as soon as we get those as well. So all the schools nice enough to play ball, and we've got sound from all of them. Let's start. It's a weird day down in Provo because they still don't have a quarterback. I say it's a weird day. It's actually just business as usual because
it sounds like Groundhog Day, actually.
We had an exchange during our pre-show kind of text back and forth. And Jeremy asked a question. He's like, I can't tell if Kalani's being serious here or if he's just kind of feeding us a line of garbage. I think that there is a little bit of a mix. But if you thought that Kalani talking about 4 quarterbacks was wild, go ahead and take a listen to this one.
They kind of go back and forth, and so I don't know if it's enough yet to separate them. But it's also difficult when you're working with the 1 O-line compared to working with the 2s. And so we're taking that into account, and also with the receivers and the DBs, so that are going against them. So when we factor it all in, it's more who can get the team to execute the best and make sure we're not making mistakes. But a lot of that is not the quarterback. I think the quarterback's doing a great job, and I would say all 4 of them. We made some mistakes today, threw some picks. It's okay. I think that's more defense making plays than anything else. I'm really pleased with the way the progress. I want to see the progress of the quarterback position with all those guys. And talked about the 4 quarterbacks, but it's also with Cole Hagen. So all the guys are getting better, and I think the quarterback position is improving quite a bit every day.
Kalani's messing with us, isn't he?
Whoa, we got a 5th quarterback in the mix.
When you have 5 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. Isn't that the old saying?
It still applies, yes.
5 quarterbacks. You throw Cole Hagen's name in there. I really do think that they're like, look, we don't need to tell you guys anything. In fact, we're not going to tell you anything. There's some mistakes made today. Some picks were thrown. I'm like, there it is right there then. Cut those guys. Who made the most mistakes today?
Cut all of them.
No, I'm just saying who made the most mistakes.
They don't want you to know that.
Gone.
It's like a reality show.
Yes, please. At this point, please. Now, I know we're only second week into camp, and that sounds brutal. But
hey, McKay Hillstead, I've noticed you just been on the zip line the whole time we've been here.
Did you throw 3 picks today? Grab your playbook. Meet A-Rod in the quarterback room. Actually,
pretty sure he's just here for the zip line.
We want to transition you into anything to get these guys excited about being out there. I'm telling you, I don't know what the thing is, and what do you need to see? And I know that there's a lot that goes into, interceptions during camp. I know there's a lot, but at this point, and again, I'm not asking them to narrow it down to QB1, but it does seem like it's probably not this bad, right? When you hear this and you go, oh yeah, all 4 quarterbacks did a great job today, and then even Cole, really a 5th, you could throw Cole Hagen in there, former Corner Canyon state champion. And there you go. And I guess I could see all that, but really this seems like a game that he's playing a little bit with having to give you an answer, but not really wanting to give you anything. And that's a way to add even more not giving you anything to the pile. And that is they got 5 quarterbacks who are all working out with the 1s and 2s. Are you kidding? It's a lot. It
is a lot. And as each day goes by, I think the little more nervous you get if you're a BYU fan. It's like, okay, we have a race here, right? This is a quarterback race. Is this a sprint or a marathon? Because if this is a marathon, that's not good for us. I think you need at least 2 guys to be emerging by the end of the week. But somebody's got to separate themselves.
Yeah, let's go.
You can't, as a coach, force somebody to do that. You got to let it play out. And it's just, I don't know. I don't want to overreact. I'm not sitting there watching these quarterbacks. We're just going by what Kalani's telling us. If you got 5 guys that are getting reps in your practices that you're talking about with the media, maybe there's a smoke screen there, but I also think that there's some truth in that they're really searching here. They're giving everybody in their camp a chance, including Cole Hagen, to go out there and see what he can do. It's just a little unnerving that they don't have a guy that is breaking away right now and separating himself. It's camp. Like, you got games in 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
When's the season opener? The 31st?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that for Utah?
August 6th.
Yeah, we're there. You got to, hey, listen, I think you should be a little bit more understanding of JJ and I, all right? Hey, BYU, it's much more fun for us to talk about an actual quarterback who might be getting some starts versus I don't want to have to do research on 5 guys. Come on.
I disagree. I'm fine doing the homework. Hey, it's making August more interesting.
Hey, you know what?
I don't have what are we talking about with Utah? Business as usual.
Yes.
Nothing, just going through the motions.
Right, and you know what you do? We find position groups. You find position groups where there is like a little bit of a battle. You get the running backs. You get a bunch of wide receivers in there, right?
It just doesn't have the sizzle of the quarterback thing. No. Quarterback battles are fun with 2 guys. When you got 5, oh my gosh, quintuple your pleasure.
Come on, it's a quinterback. Let's trademark it now.
Quinterback, get out of here.
T-shirts.
Get out of here. Broncos like, we're running a quinterback system.
The year of the quinterback.
It sounds like
problem is you can't go you have 4 quarters, so maybe you get the 5th quarterback in overtime.
Oh yeah, he'll get a shot in OT. Yeah, I get it.
You got to spread out the reps during the season.
Okay, well I'll tell you this: spreading out the reps actually does take away more reps from the folks who are going to end up. Whoever the starter is going to be, they're getting fewer reps today, or at camp every day. They're getting fewer reps when they're sharing it like this. And I get it. You're kind of going through the whole tryout situation. It's great, right? Except for, you've got this playbook you got to get down. And guess what they're doing? They're trying to install a bunch more plays. They're trying to get it all figured out. And those younger guys, if they can't keep up with the playbook, it's going to be a struggle.
I would have to say we probably have way more in terms of install with our offense and defense than we've had in years past, and it's hurting some of the young guys that haven't been around. It's just we just have to do it that way to get the team ready. So if there's mistakes, it's mostly the young guys, and we had some administrative mistakes today, a bobbled snap, offsides, false starts, stuff like that. So we'll clean that up, but that's part of it. It's got to be a lot better in terms of execution.
Wait. So what did you say happened? There were mistakes. He said administrative mistakes. It made it sound like
administrative failures.
Like the AC didn't turn on in the student-athlete building. What was the first part, though, that he said? He said something about that's what it is. The younger guys are the ones who are making all the mistakes, right? That's what he said. Get him out of here. I've got my making cut hat on today. You should throw picks? Yep. Are you young? Yep. See you next year. You'll be a part of this conversation next year.
Well, nobody's young at BYU, too. At least that's what all the opposing coaches tell us.
I like that 29-year-old that got back there. A good kid, mature.
Yeah, a very mature group, a gritty, mature group.
I think they got 4 kids apiece. All right.
Look, again, if your young guys are making mistakes, the fact that it's still a 4-way thing or 5 guys are getting the looks tells you that the older guys, the more experienced guys, aren't pulling away. Like, that's...
no one's separating?
What are we, week in now?
Tons of talent or no talent? That's the question. That's really what it is. Tons of talent or no talent?
There's talent, but there's not enough talent to separate.
Yeah. All right.
And that's the thing. You're right. How concerned should we really be? Are we overreacting to this?
Yeah, always, because that's our job. JJ, I was just going to remind you, This is a sports talk show. We need to overreact. It's part of our deal.
Well, I'm ready.
So here is the other thing. We had A-Rod saying this team's way ahead of where they were last year. That's like the clarion call of camp. Remember when we were talking about this last week? He was like, "Oh yeah, we're ahead of where we were last year," which is like funny because I think they said the same thing last year, the year before. But Kalani talked about the fact that you do at this point have a ton of corrections that you still need to make, and whether it's the administrative stuff like he was talking about, there are a lot of mistakes being made in camp early.
I mean, the mistakes are fixable in terms of just focus. The other mistakes that are happening is getting the guys the opportunity to make plays. I know there's a lot going in there, and it benefits the guys that have been around longer and been used to this offense and defense. And so the young guys, it's one of those things where the classroom has to move as fast as what we need to get done, rather than and a lot of those guys just have to drink from a fire hose right now. Just get used to it, and the more they study, the more they spend time on it, I think the easier it'll be. And they're getting reps, and we'll just have to keep working with it.
Are these offenses installed on college football 2025? Like, is it the same offenses, or is it all just the same? It's the same plays that we've all played with growing up on that game.
Sure.
Maybe you get them on there. Get the playbook on there. Can you install that playbook? Can you have the amended playbook put in there for these guys? If you're BYU or, frankly, any program across the country, you get a hold of EA Sports and go, can we put these 19 plays in just for my guys? They want to train. Let's use this game for what it should be used for. An actual simulator. We need this thing. We need these guys to learn the playbook. All jokes aside, mistakes being made, that's part of what you hear how amazing things are going up at the University of Utah. You think Kyle Whittingham isn't blowing plays dead and getting pissed? Of course he is.
Is it a post-practice topic?
No.
Is it a post-practice topic?
So does that
Utah
worry you
State?
then? Does that worry you to have to hear, yeah, they're mistakes and they make them?
Worry slightly. You would hope they're talking about something being made as progress.
Yeah.
Something that's a breakthrough or something positive. Look, I'm not saying that they need to paint a picture that's not there. I appreciate the honesty and the candor. We all do. That's why we do this. That's why we want to hear from them.
Mm-hmm.
They're human, and they're going to make mistakes in camp. It just feels like that's an overriding topic when you would hope to hear about some more positive developments is all. And maybe
I
that'll
can see
come.
that.
Maybe next week, this talk about mistakes, it goes away. Maybe next week, after they have their first scrimmage of fall camp, some things separate, some things open up, because you go through camp, and camp is it's a grind, right? You're not playing in games, but maybe we get out there in a scrimmage and a little bit of a bright light there gets an extra gear out of one of these quarterbacks, or there's a star that makes a play or something. Anything positive right now. Because we all knew going into the season, like, this program, there's challenges here where they could go either way. Like, they could get to a bowl game. They could get to 7-5. But I could also see them going 3-9. Like, you can see that one way or the other, things could break. Like, what if some injuries start cropping up? You know what I mean? So you see the fluctuation in possibilities with this team. You're hoping the fluctuation in camp turned into a positive direction for them. And it's still early. Like, I'm trying not to overreact, but I want to see some positive development here. Something we're talking about is like, hey, so-and-so had a great day. Hey, the quarterback, no mistakes. Like, Retzloff was just lights out today, right? That's what I want to start hearing. Or Gary Bohannon is really taking command,
right,
showing his veteran leadership. Like, we
need
to start hearing those comments.
And when you see those slow motion highlights from practice, like, let's do more of those. Let's see that quarterback throwing that ball. Let's see the guy on the release of that, not just the catch. And
you're a fan listening right now. What do you want to see and hear from this team right now?
Are you okay with
feel like there's progress being made?
Yeah,
even if it's small. And I'm not trying to overreact to all this stuff, like the mistakes and like the 5 quarterbacks and all this stuff, but like you talk about Utah and Utah State, they know who their guys are, and that's a different conversation. Different places, different. It's apples and oranges. I get it, but like BYU needs to start getting some of these things sorted out and figured out for them to be able to move forward and progress and have success this season. Because the longer it drags out, like you're saying, like there's installs, there's things you need to work on. You need to know who your guy is to get more of those reps in. The more you have to spread out the reps, the further you fall behind with your quarterback's development with whoever's going to be there.
Don't you feel like but I do think that him throwing out Cole Hagen's name, like in addition to the other 4 quarterbacks that are working out, you know, I've covered a lot of camps over the years, and there's a lot of politics that have to be played by these coaches. They got to get these kids that come in, and it's like, hey, throw them a bone. Say something about how good he's been.
Cole Hagen probably did play well.
Of course. I mean, the guy's a preferred walk-on. So he's not like they're going, we could barely keep this guy. How are we going to keep him?
It's jarring because we didn't know he was in the mix.
I get it. There's a lot of guys with green jerseys on throwing the football around because there's always, 8 guys in green jerseys at BYU's, fall camp. You don't want all 8 splitting reps. You don't want 5. You don't want 4. We barely even want 2 splitting reps right now. But, again, a few weeks away, and we do the overreaction thing. We do because we forget, too, that this is just that – we're in the middle of that what's it going to be? Because it's about a week prior or about 10 days prior, they start to go into full game prep of their first opponent. When it changes over from camp to game prep, right? Getting ready for Southern Illinois, right? And by then, you still might not have a starter, but what you have then at that point, everything's been installed. Starters top to bottom are all figured out. And by the way, there are other positions where other battles are going on.
Of course.
Where guys are going to earn their spot. Where a third string guy who you don't know his name right now, he might end up getting. That's when we get Mitch Harper on and he'll go, oh yeah, a name you're starting to hear pop up more and more is this guy and this guy who you were waiting maybe another season to hear from, or you forgot about that return missionary that you thought was going to take a little bit extra time. This happens every year. And the 5 quarterbacks is concerning, but the reality is they're doing this at every position every year anyway. So it's not fun to not have a quarterback, but they've been hashtag blessed down in Provo with a lot of, just like non-quarterback battles in the most recent years. And so that's why it's a little frustrating. Even the Keaton Slovis thing at this point last year, you could just, there was a sigh of relief of you don't have to talk about splitting reps.
Which actually, you look at the start of the season last year, and I think that helped them. Like, they needed to have a guy. And the impact that has on your team's preparation for a season, it's not a huge deal. But it is a little concerning that there's no separation yet. At least 2 guys haven't separated to where they would publicly say that. But that's all right. Let the competition continue.
Yeah. I'm all for it. And I think Kalani's like, I'm happy to throw 5 quarterbacks' names out there because we know what's going on in this room. So, in the end, we're not the coaches at BYU. And fans might be a little bit frustrated with hearing 5 quarterbacks are getting reps. But that's part of the deal. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. First segment out of the way. On to some Utah Jazz talk. Yes, there's been some movement in the Lauri Markkanen market and what his future could look like as a Utah Jazzman or someplace else. We're going to talk to Ben Anderson about the likely future of Lauri Markkanen here in Utah. Stay right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz. It's time! All season long and even in the off-season, it's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball, gimme the ball because
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. I'm assuming that everybody else is kind of like us across the station all day long. We are Olympic fans, man. The TV's on. I can't help but watch whatever is in front of us. We just watched Team USA dismantle Brazil. We knew that was going to happen. By the way, during the fourth quarter of that matchup between Brazil and Team USA, Kevin Durant quietly becomes the highest scoring player in the history of U.S. men's basketball in the Olympics.
Wow.
Which means he passed up Carmelo, right?
Yeah.
That's a long list of really, really good basketball players. And I just, that's one of those things. I like that these guys are into it. I like that it's important to these guys. I like that the best players in the world on Team USA are freaking playing, and they play their butts off like every Olympics. It's awesome. Joining us on the program right now, Ben Anderson on the program. Ben, is it that big of a deal that these guys – I mean, it's a long legacy of America wanting to keep that legacy alive.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal, and I think it's cool. I'm glad the players showed up and are taking it seriously and playing, and it seems like the NBA, for good or for better or worse, has kind of gone as LeBron goes. You know, he didn't do the dunk contest, and now stars don't do the dunk contest. But if he goes to the Olympics at this age, I hope other players will say, yeah, that's a priority. Playing in the Olympics and winning the gold and representing the United States really matters.
Before we get to the big Jazz news of the day, I had one more Olympic question for you to discuss. Is the fact that this group of teams in this Olympics might be the deepest talent pool we've ever seen, and yet the United States is still so far beyond better than these other teams. What does this say about Team USA, and how good and how much does this Team USA version compare to the 1992 Dream Team?
I think it's more talented top to bottom. And while, I wouldn't say LeBron is in his prime or Kevin Durant is in his prime anymore, they are closer to their prime than Magic Johnson or Larry Bird were at that time. So, the top-end guys, the biggest name guys, are still closer to their best basketball than what you are seeing from the 1992 Dream Team. And I think that's very exciting. And that's why they have been so deep. And the nice thing about, Team USA versus France, Australia, Canada now, who's been eliminated shockingly, they have weak spots at entire positions. Mm-hmm. Even if they are NBA guys, it's not really a strength. Australia didn't have a good front court this year. You don't see a strong backcourt right now for France. They've got some good players. They've got Evan Fournier. They've got some guys who are NBA players, but it's not an all-star at that position. Team USA just has all-stars at every single position. Drew Holiday's been an all-star. Derek White's been an all-star. Small forwards, you have LeBron James and you have Jason Tatum and you have whoever you need there, Kevin Durant. You have Anthony Edwards, who's an all-star. And then, of course, the front court is Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo, who are both all-stars. It's just there's no weak points. They can address everything, and that's really the nice thing that they have and the advantage that they have that is a strength over what any other team's going to be able to throw. Now, 5 years from now, I guess we should say 4, since that's how we count in the Olympics, maybe some of these young guards in France are ready to step up and they will be a more complete roster, but it's hard to think that their second unit is going to be full of NBA All-Stars as well.
I'm quietly like the biggest Anthony Edwards fan on the planet, like watching what he does. And there's a little bit of that feeling of like passing the torch when a guy like that, like in the game, we saw him make such huge strides this year. And then, leading Team USA in a couple of these games where he's just shooting the lights out and just doing whatever he wants in these games is fun to watch. I like the young guys, too, because there's a bunch of old guys you named off, but I think the young guys coming up are awesome, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a team that, look, I don't know how many of these players are actually still going to be on the roster 4 years from now. Anthony Edwards will be the star. Jason Tatum should be there. Bam Adebayo has a chance. But, man, I mean, all these guys that we're talking about coming up, Cooper Flagg and RJ Hampton and some of these guys that are going to be in this next draft or have a real chance. And, some of those guys might be Canadian for all I know. But, this run of stars is not going to slow down at all in the NBA. And, yeah, this what is it going to be, 2028 Olympics is going to be just as good.
Now the news of the day for the Jazz, the reporting out there, multiple reports. Shams, Tony Jones, The Athletic, saying that Lauri Markkanen will sign that long-term extension with the Jazz. You wrote about it as well on KSLSports.com. None of this really a surprise, right?
No, not at all. And I think this is what I've been told and been trying to report as much as possible, really since the offseason. I asked Lauri if he wanted to sign here, and he said, he's seen guys sign too early or guys sign too late, but he wants to sit down and talk about it. And it was never, I'm not going to sign. It was never, I've really got to think about it and I'm not interested. He always said he loved Utah and he loved being here. And everyone I talked to with the Jazz said, yeah, we want him here. We expect him to be here. And we've got a lot of different options to get that deal done. And that's exactly what is in the process of happening. Now we'll have to see what the deal looks like tomorrow or the next day when the numbers actually come out. But I don't think this is a surprise. And the Jazz haven't done anything in the offseason to put themselves in a spot where they wouldn't be able to re-sign Lauri. They positioned themselves perfectly to get this done. And it's really kind of interesting because now is when the offseason really starts for the Jazz. They have been holding on to the end up being $24 million or maybe it's just 15, but something in that range to give to Lauri in the next couple of days. And then they can start looking at what's available around the rest of the NBA that they think will benefit them long term.
I think that the reports were 5 years was what people were talking about. We were talking about 4 or 5 or whatever it was going to be. What do you think that number is going to end up being? Is it going to be north of that $50 million a year mark? Is it going to be kind of overall, or is it going to be? I mean, not that it necessarily matters to the Jazz, who have massive cap space, but they make that deal and they make that signing. He'll be the richest Jazz man likely in the history of this franchise, which is where the game is going now.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you look at this deal. Do you count what's going on next, this coming season as part of a 5-year deal, in which case, it's this final year of his existing contract up at $42 million. And then you may actually reset him at a lower number the year after that. He may drop down to the mid-30s and climb on a max deal after that. So he may not go, 42 next year up to 47, 48. It may not grow like that. So I think that could be part of what the, average overall is. It might be a little bit spiked on next year's roster, the same way Jordan Clarkson made $25 million last year and will only make $14 million this year. So I would be curious the actual length and some of those actual numbers, and I'm sure the Jazz would like to get the lowest number possible, even if it means sacrificing extra money today.
So after this restructure and extension, and Lauri's obviously not going to sign it today. If he signs it tomorrow or later in the week, doesn't really matter. He's not going to be traded next season. He's going to be on this roster. He's going to be on the team. Can the Jazz still reach their goals next year with Lauri on the roster? That's the big talk now, right? They'll have Lauri. They'll have Colin Sexton.
Are you talking about anti-goals?
You know what I mean by goals. We all know.
Yeah, because here's what I'm curious. Now do the Jazz turn their attention to helping another team that's trying to offload salary and would take on a Jordan Clarkson? Like, let's say there's a team that has a $20 million salary that they don't want to pay, and they are $5 or $6 million over the luxury tax or over a tax apron, and they want to get below either that second or first tax apron or under the salary cap, or I should say under the luxury tax. They could trade a $20 million salary for Jordan Clarkson's $14 million, shave $6 million off, give the Jazz a player who's not going to help the Jazz win. That team adds a Jordan Clarkson, who I think on the right team is still a valuable piece, and the Jazz pick up another pick swap or second-round pick or something like that in the future, very similar to what they just did with Russell Westbrook and the buyout that they got with the Clippers before he signed with the Nuggets.
Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com, and, of course, Jake and Ben every day, 10 to noon right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Do you get excited to think about I guess excitement's the wrong word to look at it, but, when you see that the Jazz kind of have put that in the rear view a little bit, that was the part that everybody's kind of, I guess, holding their breath on. But when you say the offseason starts, then where do you start? If you're Justin Zanuck or Danny Ainge, where do you go from right here now that you have the Lauri piece taken care of?
Yeah, I would sit. In all honesty, I wouldn't be afraid to be boring and let other teams kind of fill out their roster, let all of the existing salary cap space disappear, and be the last man standing with any flexibility. And you can even take that into the season if you want to and just say, hey, we can take on your bad contracts and not get hard capped and not put ourselves in a situation where we lose financial flexibility. That's speaking from the Jazz's standpoint. I would do that and see if there's an injury in training camp, see, all of these things, see if there's an injury before the end of Olympics, all of these things, and find a team who's in a very vulnerable spot who simply has to cut salary or get rid of somebody, and you're the only team positioned to do it. I think there's really a possibility the Jazz could find themselves as that last man standing, and that's valuable. If you're the only person the teams can deal with and they have to make a deal, you own all the leverage, and you can get a lot in those situations, knowing that the Jazz enter the season regardless of what they do, because there's not going to be more major trades made before the end of the offseason. You're not going to go in with any expectations to be better than the 14th best team in the Western Conference, and that's out of 15. So I don't know what you're competing for at this point. They haven't positioned themselves to compete for a lot, so you might as well bring on bad pieces and add more future assets.
2 years ago, the Jazz traded Donovan Mitchell late in the offseason. It was August or September, I believe, if I remember right. September 1, that's right. And then last year we saw Damian Lillard and Drew Holiday move late in the offseason, almost right before the season started. Do you see that happening again this year, where this trend of teams making these deals later in the offseason start taking place, or do you think it'll go back to normal?
I think we're going to always have these deals. Now, maybe as teams get used to what these tax apron penalties look like and what they need to do to get out of it, maybe they'll be a little bit more willing to just make deals early. But I still think there are teams trying to figure out exactly what it looks like, how they want to position themselves, what benefits them most, of when to sign deals, when to trade players. So I think there will still be some late moves this season, though I don't expect anything, that's going to change the landscape of the NBA.
Ben, we appreciate you joining us today. We love listening to you guys every day and also being able to read your stuff on the Jazz. And look, it's all coming to a head here. We've got college football, Utah Jazz, Utah Hockey Club, and we can't ignore any of it. It's top of mind for all of us, so we really love having you on because it helps us kind of get that Jazz piece totally figured out. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
there you
Ben.
go. Ben Anderson. Ooh, fun time to be
Be a what?
What?
Fun time to be an NBA fan. The league's
Here's the
entertaining.
thing
I'll
is
say that.
Here's the thing. We get excited, even with the Jazz. They kind of going, yeah. And Ben saying, hey, I would just go out there. I would be bold enough to be boring. Like go out there. Don't be afraid to be boring.
Yeah.
And that actually, that's the play, right? Unless something insane comes up and you have the flexibility to be able to do that, which they do. But
You know what? If you don't mind a little pain and you see the moves the Jazz are doing, what they're doing right now, you are excited.
yeah,
Because you're getting what you really want,
yes,
which is you want to be in a position to get the best player possible in this next draft and possibly the one after that.
yeah.
We all talk about how incredible Cooper Flag is. You got to get those players, but you also at the same time, Lauri Markkanen's locked in if you want him for next season and then 4 years beyond that. That's really exciting. So you've already got a 7-footer that shoots 40% from three. Is he Dirk? No, but he's close. I'm dead serious.
New Dirk. He's got that new Dirk look.
You just locked in that player. He's an all-star, and he's in his prime. Now the challenge for the Jazz is to get this process going, get the right young kid in next year in the lottery, hope some of these other lottery picks develop, and then you've already got your centerpiece in Lauri Markkanen, or you find out that your centerpiece is actually not on the team yet, but it's in a draft. Either way, there's some excitement there because at least the Jazz are going to put themselves in a position to be more competitive in the future. But that's the question we're going to continue to debate. And I know people disagree with me saying that you can tank with Lauri. I think you can. I think you just got to start doing it before February.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and we got tons to go over. I think we're going to have an update coming up here around the corner, or at least within the next few minutes, from our Russian correspondent, see what the medal count is for Russia in Paris 2024. Got to get an update, because you never know, things can change, and so we'll get his thoughts on that. Nominate your youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination, KSLSports.com/contest. You listen every Thursday. JJ and I roll those out. If you have that youth sports volunteer that does a phenomenal job, we're in the middle of that right now, right? Where there's team moms who show up big time, right?
I'm seeing them already.
Yes.
We've got a great one on my son's 7-year-old team.
And you know what? It's effort that I can't make. I'm not good at any of that stuff.
I can't do it.
Don't have the time.
I'm so grateful that somebody can.
Somebody else can, and that's the person you want to be able to nominate for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Just go to KSLSports.com/contest. Somebody who deserves that extra recognition because they do it kind of behind the scenes, and you can help them out. Go to KSLSports.com/contest. We'll read those winners off every Thursday, and they'll win a prize courtesy of Hercules Credit Union and Beehive Meals. There you go, Hercules Hero of the Week. We'll come back. We will jump in a little bit. And we've got more to do. We've got a Would You Rather also around the corner. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What are you dancing over there for?
That's funky beat.
It's not the sexy tones of Salt Lake Bees baseball, but it's close. That jam that you got going on over there in your seat, I am.
Yeah, that Bees baseball commercial. It's like Tony Park's giving me a massage.
Where are the cameras here now when we need them?
I know. You would have picked up JJ doing this like. Yeah, remember that sit and
Hopefully
be.
wouldn't pick up Tony Park's giving me a massage.
I know. Remember that lady on TV, Sit and Be Fit? That was JJ just now. What you gonna want to do is you want to go back and forth in your chair here. You want to go ahead. You want to go ahead and you're burning your calories. You're doing good.
Only in America could you come up with a fitness routine called Sit and Fit.
Sit and Be Fit. All right. And that
While
lady
you eat your Big Mac.
No, I'm telling you, This lady's been doing it on PBS for she might no longer be with us. I don't know.
I guarantee you
Hey,
she's not
Jeremy.
with us.
Those
arteries are clogged.
she was in good shape. She was trying to help people that were, not able to get out and enjoy the good life.
What, the grandpa from
Yeah, he's trying to sit and be fit. It wasn't sit in your
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or the grandparents?
It was like a real chair.
We got a situation like that where
it was a real chair. Oh yeah, Grandpa Joe.
Charlie's out scrubbing whatever,
and then Grandpa Joe's all, "I'll go to the factory with you. I can walk now."
Suddenly I'm fine.
There's a whole.
You got a golden ticket,
dude. There's a whole subreddit dedicated to Grandpa Joe hate.
He's a horrible human being.
He's a bad person. Plus, could you imagine the smell under that sheet?
Oh,
not good. 4 people facing each other in that bed. I love how we're talking about like it's real history. You know what they had to go through.
Check to hear about Marianne Wilson.
And Marianne Wilson, is she the sit and be fit gal?
Still with us.
Yeah.
Currently a registered nurse.
Oh, of course.
Started this in 1989.
89, see?
Something.
Back when the ladies were doing jazzercise, she was sitting and be fitting.
Born in 36, so
okay.
Up there.
Oh, my goodness.
I love how you didn't reveal her age because you're like trying to be classy about it. 88. Or will be 88
she's
this year.
88.
Either she's 88 or she'll be 88 this year.
We'll find out that
you know what?
her secret to longevity
Her birthday was July. So
drinking Coke
just
and
recently.
smoking cigars.
I always love that. Look, I had a grandma who was lots of cigarettes a day. We'll put it that way. And she lived into her 80s. And I was like, Grandma, what's going on here? Do we need to have that cigarette in your mouth? And at some point, she wasn't even smoking them anymore. It's just like a 3 inches of ash while she's talking. I'm trying to like catch it. And I'm like, hold on, Grandma.
Don't start a fire.
No, that's how. That was me on Thursdays in the summer mowing my grandma's yard. She'd give me a Star Crunch and some orange juice, and she'd have a conversation with a cigarette poking out of her mouth.
What was her cigarette of choice?
What was funny was she was definitely like she did the Virginia Slims for a long time, and then toward the end of her life, I don't know where these even came from. They were called BV, and I was like, Grandma, what are these? And I read it, and it was a carton of bonus value cigarettes. So I don't think she was in it for the. She was only in it for the addiction at that point.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, Grandma, you gotta have some. Let's just go ahead and quit, Grandma.
Why don't you just guzzle the tar, just straight into the lungs?
Well, I'm gonna see if those are still a thing. Oh my gosh! There you go. Bonus value is made by R.J. Reynolds. In
Would
case
you rather
were wondering.
talk about the Olympics or talk about your grandma's
hey,
Virginia
you're the one who
Slims?
started talking about. You started talking about the age of sit and be fit, lady. She's still with us. That means the regimen works, JJ. Don't make fun of it.
Well,
all right.
She laughs last.
Let me roll out some would you rathers here for you, since we got to actually get to part of the show. It's all brought to you by Utah Department of Public Safety. Cyclists, wear that reflective gear. Drivers, give the cyclists at least 3 feet of space. Meet in the middle so your paths don't. The message from the Utah Department of Public Safety. Would you rather finish 4th place in the Olympics or finish 3rd but get DQ'd after like they kind of review the footage? Now I'm gonna up it and say you win first, you win the gold medal, and then you get DQ'd, because at least if you get DQ'd, you go, yeah, but I was the fastest. They didn't let me win, but
I'd rather finish 4th because then they'd have to live with the shame of knowing you were the best, but you messed up somehow and cost yourself, and you have to live with that regret for the rest of your life. So I'd much rather live with a prideful 4th place finish.
Okay.
What does that say about me?
I don't know. Would you rather be on the Dream Team in 1992 with that whole group? So just imagine you on one of those McDonald's cups.
So like I'm Christian Leitner.
Yeah, yeah, you got it. The collegiate guy.
I'm the guy that sits on the end of the bench.
Hey, everybody. Isaiah Thomas had to sit at home and watch Christian Leitner ride the pine and then get a couple points against Botswana. It's fine.
Is that the most evil thing that Michael Jordan's ever done?
Take him out. It's like the basketball version of whacking a guy.
I was wow.
Awful.
And you heard about it in the documentary. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
That is hate, man. That is hate.
Isaiah Thomas is not a primary child himself either. He's not like some goody two-shoes himself. So.
Oh, no. None of those guys. None of those guys are.
Okay, so Team USA.
Including our own, I won't say.
Okay.
I'll stop there.
Team USA,
Never meet
Dream
your heroes.
Team, like I said, you get your face on the commemorative McDonald's Cup back in 1992, or you win a gold like a run-of-the-mill gold medal in Dream Team or Redeem Team? How about that?
Redeem Team.
Really? Kobe and company?
That's crazy to say because I am of the Dream Team generation.
Yes, you are.
Like I have a Dream Team basketball card and the whole all this stuff.
I thought you were about to say
memorabilia from that time.
Yeah.
But the Redeem Team restored pride, and it hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, the Redeem Team actually probably.
And who was part of that? LeBron, Kobe,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Carmelo,
yeah.
obviously. LeBron's still going.
Yeah. Was Chris Paul
which
part
is
of
pretty
that?
cool.
I think he was.
Darren Williams was on that team.
Oh,
Carlos Boozer. That was fun. And we had some Jazz players involved in it. But I really respected what that group did. I respected Kobe in that situation. Kobe Bryant, if you have a chance, go watch the documentary on the Redeem Team. Kobe Bryant was on a mission. Like he was going to win gold. And he's the leader of leaders, man. That team followed his example. He was working out and practicing at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning in the hotel. And all these guys were out partying. And they come walking in, and Kobe's going down the elevator to go work out. And they just got done partying all night. Crazy. I mean, just amazing what Kobe did to help that Redeem Team effort. So the Dream Team didn't have to face the crazy, tough gauntlet that these teams face today with all these NBA players with the game going so international.
I would say that
I go Redeem Team.
I'd say the Redeem Team is the reason why people are like, the Redeem Team restored it, and this will never happen again. We will never not foster this Team USA spirit of beating the hell out of everybody at the Olympics every 4 years.
Angola's not walking through that door.
No. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, Matt Baiamonte, one of our Cougar Sports Saturday hosts on KSL News Radio, BYU insider for KSLSports.com. He's been down at camp covering BYU's fall camp all since the beginning of when it started last week, maybe even the week before. I can't remember even what date it is now. But Matt is going to give us an update on where the quarterback splitting rep situation is. I want to know what the other media people are talking about. When they get to actually do the media viewing, when they're out there on that deck and they watch and they get to see what he's noticing maybe right off the bat here, because even with the limited stuff, it's still pretty nice to be able to watch that practice. Matt Baiamonte joins us next, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.